Dr. Sarah Chen stood at the observation deck of the Hope's Light, watching distant stars streak past the reinforced windows. The medical vessel's white hull gleamed under the light of passing nebulae, its red cross insignia a beacon of hope in the darkness of space. She ran her fingers through her graying hair, a testament to 20 years of service in the Interstellar Medical Corps. "Doctor, the latest batch of vaccines has finished synthesis," Maria Rodriguez, her chief medical officer, reported from the doorway. The younger woman's dark eyes reflected the same determination that had drawn Sarah to select her for this mission. "Stability?" Sarah asked, turning away from the view. 99.8% across all batches. The new gravitational stabilizers are working better than expected." Sarah nodded, allowing herself a small smile. The vaccines they carried represented humanity's latest breakthrough in medical science, a cure for the crimson fever that had been ravaging both human and alien colonies along the outer rim. The disease didn't discriminate between species, and neither would they in delivering the cure. The ship's internal communication system chimed softly. "Dr. Chen, to the bridge, please. We're approaching the Caraxian sector border." Walking through the corridors of Hope's Light, Sarah observed her crew at work. Humans of all backgrounds working together, united by their oath to preserve life. The vessel itself was a marvel of medical engineering. 300 meters of state-of-the-art medical facilities, emergency response units, and research laboratories. The bridge doors slid open with a gentle hiss. Captain James O'Neill, a former emergency response pilot with calm blue eyes and steady hands, looked up from his command station. "Doctor, we're picking up increased military activity in the sector," he said, gesturing to the holographic display. Red dots indicated Imperial patrol routes crossing their planned trajectory. They've been jumpy since the recent attacks on their supply lines. Sarah studied the display, her expression resolute. The Hope's Light is a registered medical vessel under the Galactic Health Accord. We're clearly marked, and our mission is logged with both human and Imperial authorities. "True," O'Neill agreed, "but the Empire's been suspicious of everything lately. Might be safer to route around their patrols, even if it delays us by 12 hours. Sarah shook her head, her voice firm but gentle. "There are people dying on both sides of this border, Captain. Every hour we delay could cost lives. The Empire may be paranoid, but even they respect medical neutrality. It's been a cornerstone of interspecies relations since first contact." The bridge crew watched their leader, drawing strength from her conviction. Sarah had earned their trust over countless missions, always putting the welfare of patients first, regardless of species, faction, or circumstance. "Plot a direct course," she ordered, "and open a channel to Imperial border control. We'll follow all protocols to the letter. Broadcast our medical registry codes on all frequencies." As the Hope's Light continued its journey, Sarah returned to reviewing patient data from the affected colonies. The ship's engines hummed softly beneath her feet, a reminder of their ongoing mission. Outside, the stars continued their eternal dance, indifferent to the political boundaries drawn between them. None of them could have known that their routine medical mission was about to change the course of galactic history. Commander Vexthor's scaled fingers drummed against the arm of his command chair. His bridge crew maintained complete silence, knowing their commander's reputation for swift decisions. The Imperial warship Relentless hung in the darkness of space, its angular hull designed to inspire fear rather than hope. "Magnification on the approaching vessel," he ordered, his silver eyes narrowing at the main view screen. The white medical ship grew larger in the display, its clean lines and clear markings visible against the star field behind it. His second-in-command, Sub-Commander Krall, approached with a datapad. "Sir, they're broadcasting standard medical registry codes. The vessel is the Hope's Light, Earth-registered medical transport. Their mission documents check out." Vexthor studied the incoming ship with growing suspicion. 3 attacks on Imperial supply lines in the past month, all perpetrated by ships that initially appeared harmless. The rebels were growing bolder, cleverer. His mandibles clicked together in thought. "Scan for weapons signatures," he commanded. None detected, sir, the sensor officer reported. Their cargo holds contain medical supplies, primarily biological materials consistent with vaccines. No energy signatures matching known weapons. The Hope's light continued its approach, maintaining the exact speed and course recommended by Imperial protocols. Everything about the vessel screamed legitimacy, which only made Vexthor more suspicious. In his experience, perfect compliance often hid perfect deception. Sir, Krull ventured carefully, the medical vessel is requesting standard passage clearance. Their credentials are valid under the Galactic Health Accord. Vexthor rose from his chair, his tall frame casting a shadow across the bridge. Tell me, Krull, how many ships did we lose in the Mintaka raid? How many crew? 17 ships, sir. Over 8,000 personnel. And how did the rebels achieve such success? Krull's scales shifted color slightly, indicating discomfort. They used false transponder codes, sir, posed as relief vessels. The commander's gaze never left the approaching medical ship. Exactly. And now we have another human vessel, claiming to carry aid, approaching a sector vital to Imperial security. Sir, if we're wrong about this one, if we're wrong, we apologize, and I accept a reprimand. Vexthor cut him off. If we're right, we prevent another massacre. The Empire cannot afford to take chances, not anymore. He turned to his weapons officer, decision made. Target their engines. Minimum power, disabling shots only. If they're legitimate, we'll apologize and escort them to their destination ourselves. Sir, the weapons officer's hands hesitated over the controls. They're broadcasting medical status. The accord clearly states. The accord assumes peace, Vexthor snapped. We are at war, whether the bureaucrats admit it or not. Fire. The first shot from the Relentless lanced out across space, a precisely calculated blast meant to disable the medical vessel's primary engines. No one on the Imperial bridge expected what happened next. Instead of the standard shields flaring, something ancient and dormant within the Hope's light began to awaken. The stars themselves seemed to hold their breath as humanity's past prepared to answer Imperial aggression. The Imperial blast struck the Hope's light's port engine, sending cascades of sparks across its pristine white hull. Inside the medical vessel, emergency lighting bathed the corridors in crimson as Dr. Chen grabbed a nearby railing to steady herself. Damage report. Captain O'Neill shouted over the blaring alarms. His hands flew across the command console, trying to maintain the ship's stability. Port engine critically damaged, the engineering chief reported. Backup systems failing. We're losing containment on vaccine storage units 3 through 7. Sarah's heart sank. Those vaccines represented months of work and the hope for thousands of lives. She watched in horror as a second Imperial shot streaked toward them. But something else was happening. Deep within the Hope's light systems, past the modern medical equipment and standard ship operations, an ancient subroutine stirred. The attack had triggered something buried in the very foundation of human spacecraft design, a failsafe so old its existence had been forgotten by all but a few. In the darkness of Earth's Mariana Trench, 13 kilometers below the surface, pressure sensors detected an energy signature that hadn't been broadcast in centuries. Ancient floodlights, untouched by time, illuminated a massive shape. On the far side of the moon, in caves sealed since humanity's golden age, quantum computers older than the Galactic Empire itself whirred to life. They began calculating jump trajectories, accessing star charts that showed cosmic formations long since changed. Captain, the Hope's light's communication officer called out, confusion clear in her voice. Something's happening to our distress beacon. It's changing frequency on its own. The ship's standard emergency signal shifted, dropping to wavelengths unused for hundreds of years. It carried not just a cry for help, but a key, an ancient code that began unlocking humanity's most closely guarded secret. In the Mariana Command Center, sealed doors that hadn't opened since the Great Peace Treaty slid apart with a hiss of preserved atmosphere. Maintenance robots, their power cells drawing from geothermal vents, activated for the first time in centuries. They began warming up the systems of a warship larger than any currently in service. Sarah watched their main display in amazement as new data scrolled across it, information that shouldn't exist in their computer systems. Strange symbols flashed across the screen, and a message appeared in ancient Latin. Primum non nocere. First, do no harm. The ship's computer spoke in a voice unlike its usual tone. Medical vessel distress protocol initiated. Accessing Guardian Defense Network. Authorization. Hippocratic override. Beneath the oceans, beneath the lunar surface, in hidden pockets of space-time throughout the solar system, humanity's ancient guardians prepared for war. Ships built by a civilization that had chosen peace not from weakness, but from wisdom, began powering up their long-dormant systems. As the Imperial warship prepared to fire again, it detected new energy signatures. Massive signatures, unlike anything in their database. Commander Vexthor was about to learn why humanity had sealed away its weapons of war, and why attacking a medical ship was the one action that could bring them back. In the Mariana Command Center, ancient screens flickered to life, displaying a massive vessel designated Guardian 1. Its hull bore markings that seemed to shift and change, patterns that modern sensors would find impossible to lock onto. The maintenance robots worked with precise efficiency, bringing systems online that had waited centuries for this moment. 13 kilometers above, the Pacific Ocean began to churn. Fish scattered as temperature readings spiked, and underwater monitoring stations across the globe registered seismic activity that didn't match any known patterns. The waters parted as something enormous rose from the depths. On the far side of the moon, similar activities unfolded. In the stern crater base, sealed chambers opened to reveal ships unlike anything currently in service. Their designs followed principles long forgotten, combining elegance with raw power in ways modern engineers would find impossible. "Sir," the Imperial sensor officer called out to Commander Vexthor, "we're detecting something. Multiple massive objects emerging from Earth's ocean and the lunar surface." Vexthor leaned forward in his command chair. "Show me." The main view screen shifted to show the Pacific Ocean, where a vessel was surfacing that dwarfed any modern warship. Its hull seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it, creating the silhouette that confused both sensors and organic eyes. As water cascaded off its surface, ancient running lights activated in sequences that hadn't been seen in centuries. Aboard the Hope's Light, Dr. Chen and her crew watched in awe as their main screen displayed the awakening vessels. The ship's computer, now running on its ancient protocols, provided data about humanity's hidden guardians. Guardian Fleet activating. The computer announced. Primary directive: protection of medical vessels and personnel. Secondary directive: demonstration of consequences. From the lunar surface, 3 more ships emerged, their hulls bearing the same shifting patterns. They moved with impossible grace for their size, accelerating in ways that ignored conventional physics. Modern sensors tried to track them and failed, reading them as both there and not there simultaneously. The first lunar vessel took position near the Hope's Light, its size making the Imperial warship look like a child's toy. No weapons were visible on its surface, but waves of energy rippled across its hull in mesmerizing patterns. Medical vessel Hope's Light. A new voice transmitted on all frequencies, carrying the weight of ages. This is Guardian 1. Stand by for protective intervention and emergency repairs. A soft blue beam extended from the ancient ship, enveloping the damaged medical vessel. Where it touched the Hope's Light's hull, damage began to reverse itself. Torn metal flowed like water, reforming into its original shape. The failing vaccine storage units, stabilized as impossible energies, restored them to perfect working order. Commander Vexthor watched in stunned silence as more Guardian ships appeared. His tactical display tried to analyze their capabilities and failed repeatedly, showing readings that made no sense. These vessels represented technology so advanced it might as well be magic. The Empire was about to learn that humanity's commitment to healing was protected by powers they had never imagined, and the price for attacking a medical ship was about to become very clear indeed. Commander Vexthor stood before his tactical display, watching as his most advanced sensors failed to provide any useful data about the ancient human ships. The vessels defied every known law of physics, their hulls seeming to exist in multiple states simultaneously. "Sir," his weapons officer called out, voice trembling slightly, "the largest vessel is approaching our position." Guardian 1 moved with impossible grace, its enormous bulk gliding through space as if it weighed nothing. The shifting patterns on its hull intensified, creating cascading waves of light that made it difficult to focus on any single point of its structure. "Launch attack drones," Vexthor ordered, his military training taking over. "Full spread, maximum yield." The Imperial warship released its most advanced autonomous weapons, a swarm of 50 drones equipped with the latest in Imperial technology. They streaked toward Guardian 1, their targeting systems struggling to maintain a lock on the ancient vessel. What happened next would be discussed in Imperial military academies for generations to come. Guardian 1 didn't fire a single shot. Instead, a peculiar wave of golden light pulsed from its hull. Every drone simply stopped. They hung motionless in space, their quantum processors frozen in an instant between moments. Then, as the watching crews tried to comprehend what they were seeing, the drones transformed. Metal and circuitry flowed like liquid, restructuring into delicate crystalline sculptures that caught the starlight. Fascinating approach to weapons control. The ancient ship's AI commented on all frequencies, converting implements of destruction into art, a technique we perfected during the Age of Transformation. Sarah Chen watched from the Hope's Lights Bridge as more Guardian ships took position around them. The vaccine storage units were now completely restored, their precious cargo safer than ever within fields of energy that seemed to bend reality itself. "Imperial vessel," Guardian 1 transmitted, its tone somehow both gentle and immensely powerful. "Your actions have triggered our awakening. The medical vessel you attacked operates under protocols established before your empire existed. We request you stand down." Vexthor's mandibles clicked in agitation. "This is Imperial space. You have no authority here. All vessels must submit to." His words cut off as every system on the Relentless suddenly powered down. Screens went dark, engines fell silent, and even the artificial gravity fluctuated. Only life support and communications remained active. "Authority," Guardian 1 responded, "is not always derived from political boundaries. Some laws transcend empire and space. The protection of healers is one such law." The ancient ship's hull patterns shifted again, and a detailed hologram appeared on every screen of both vessels. It showed scenes from human history, healers tending the wounded on battlefields, doctors crossing war zones to help children, medical ships braving dangerous space to deliver aid. Each image was accompanied by text in every known language. "First, do no harm. Your weapons are now inert," Guardian 1 continued. "We have accessed your historical records. You acted from fear, not malice. This grants you one opportunity to choose a better path." Around them, space itself seemed to hold its breath as humanity's ancient guardians waited for the Empire's response. Across the galaxy, scenes similar to the confrontation at the Hope's Light began to unfold. From hidden bases on distant moons and ancient stations concealed in stellar clouds, more Guardian ships emerged. Each one answered the same call: the protection of those who heal. On the medical ship Mercy's Dawn, near the Centauri colonies, Dr. James Wong stared in amazement as 3 Imperial cruisers threatening his vessel suddenly found themselves surrounded by ships that seemed to bend light itself. His crew had been trying to deliver medical supplies to worlds suffering from a devastating plague when they were accused of supporting rebels. In the Orion sector, the hospital ship Comfort's Light watched as another Guardian vessel rose from the depths of an ocean world, its ancient systems awakening to protect them from raiders who had thought them easy prey. Back at the Hope's Light, Dr. Chen received incoming transmissions from medical vessels across known space. Each told the same story. The appearance of ancient human ships, their impossible technology, their unwavering dedication to protecting those who helped others. Guardian Network fully activated, the Hope's Light's computer announced. Total number of medical vessels under protection: 732. Guardian ships deployed: 156. Commander Vexthor, his ship still powered down except for life support and communications, listened as reports flooded in from Imperial Command. Every attempted interference with medical ships had been met with the same response: the appearance of vessels that turned their most advanced weapons into artwork. Your Empire, Guardian 1 transmitted to all ships in the sector, has forgotten something crucial about humanity. We did not abandon our weapons because we were weak. We sealed them away because we were strong enough to choose a better path. The ancient ship's hull patterns shifted, creating a display of medical ships throughout history. Vessels that had braved war zones and disasters to help those in need. These are our chosen warriors now, those who fight death itself, who battle disease and suffering. They are under our protection. Sarah watched as her medical sensors detected something extraordinary. The Guardian ships weren't just protecting them. They were enhancing their capabilities. The Hope's Light's medical bay suddenly displayed new options for treatment, using technologies that merged seamlessly with their existing equipment. Dr. Chen, Guardian 1 addressed her directly. Your ship's medical capabilities have been upgraded. You will find you can now synthesize vaccines at 3 times your previous rate, and your stasis fields can preserve them indefinitely. The ancient ship's AI continued, broadcasting to all frequencies, to every medical vessel in human space. You are no longer alone. The Guardians have awakened, not to wage war, but to ensure you can continue your mission of healing without fear. Across the galaxy, medical ships responded with a mixture of awe and gratitude as they discovered their enhanced capabilities. The Guardian ships had not just brought protection. They had brought evolution to the art of healing itself. The Imperial High Command received Commander Vexthor's report with initial skepticism. Admiral Kresh, the Empire's most decorated fleet commander, refused to believe that ancient human ships could so easily neutralize their most advanced technology. Launch the Third Fleet, he ordered from his command center on Imperial Prime. Show these relics what modern warfare can do. 200 of the Empire's finest warships emerged from hyperspace around the Hope's Light's position. Their hulls gleamed with fresh armor, their weapons primed with enough power to reduce a small moon to atoms. Admiral Kresh himself led them aboard the super dreadnought Emperor's Fist. Dr. Chen watched the tactical display as Imperial ships surrounded them. The Guardian vessels, however, showed no sign of concern. Guardian 1 maintained its position beside the Hope's Light, its shifting hull patterns casting ethereal lights across the medical ship's restored surface. Your weapons cannot harm us, Guardian 1 transmitted to the Imperial fleet. But we understand the need for demonstration. Proceed. Admiral Kresh took the ancient ship's calm response as arrogance. All ships, open fire, full spectrum assault. The void lit up with energy as 200 Imperial ships unleashed their full arsenal. Plasma torpedoes, quantum disruptors, and gravity lances, weapons that could crack planets, streaked toward the Guardian ships. What happened next redefined the galaxy's understanding of power. The Guardian ship's hull patterns briefly intensified, and every weapon fired simply ceased to exist. Not blocked, not absorbed, but transformed at a fundamental level. Where devastating energy had been, fields of glowing butterflies now danced through space, their wings made of pure light. Fascinating weapons, Guardian 1 commented. We have converted their destructive energy into more constructive forms. Observe. The swarms of energy butterflies spiraled toward damaged sections of nearby space stations and satellites, their touch restoring broken components and healing structural damage. The Imperial fleet watched in stunned silence as their most powerful weapons became tools of restoration. Now, Guardian 1 continued, Allow us to share something from our own time. A soft golden light emerged from the Guardian ships, expanding in a perfect sphere. As it passed through each Imperial vessel, their systems transformed. Weapons became medical bays. Missile tubes converted into atmospheric purifiers. Targeting systems evolved into diagnostic tools. We offer you a choice. Guardian 1 broadcast. Your ships have been temporarily converted to medical vessels. Experience what it means to heal rather than harm. In 24 hours, you may choose to retain these changes or return to your original configuration. Admiral Kresh stood on his bridge, now filled with advanced medical equipment, and felt the weight of centuries of warfare pressing down on him. His tactical officers stared in wonder at screens showing not enemy positions, but detailed biological data about nearby worlds in need of aid. The Guardian ships had not just defeated the Imperial fleet, they had offered them a chance to learn why humanity had chosen its current path. Victory, they seemed to say, wasn't about destroying an enemy. It was about transforming them into something better. The 24 hours passed like a dream across the Imperial fleet. Medical officers found themselves working alongside automated systems far beyond their understanding, healing injuries and illnesses they had previously thought untreatable. Engineers marveled at technology that could transform matter at the quantum level, using it to synthesize medicines and repair tissue. Admiral Kresh stood on his bridge, watching as his crews made their choices. Ship by ship, decisions were reported. The results surprised even him. 70% of the fleet requests to maintain medical configurations, his communications officer announced. The crews, they say they found a new purpose. Dr. Chen received the news aboard the Hope's Light, where she and her team had spent the last day teaching Imperial medical staff how to use their newfound capabilities. The Guardian ships had shown them all a different kind of power, the power to heal, to restore, to make whole what was broken. Guardian 1. She called across the command channel. What happens now? The ancient ship's response came as its hull patterns shifted into a cascade of calming blues. Now, Doctor, we do what humanity has always done best. We adapt. We teach. We heal. The Imperial High Command, faced with the undeniable power of the Guardian ships and the transformation of their fleet, had little choice but to negotiate. But the terms weren't what anyone expected. We do not seek territory, Guardian 1 transmitted to the Imperial delegation. We do not demand reparations. We ask only this, that you commit to protecting those who heal, as we have protected them. Build medical ships. Train healers. Share knowledge that saves lives. The Guardian ships began to pulse with soft light as their message continued. Your weapons cannot harm us, but your dedication to healing can make you stronger than any weapon ever could. Sarah watched from her newly enhanced medical bay as Imperial ships, those that had chosen to maintain their medical configurations, received their first assignments. The Emperor's Fist, once the mightiest warship in the Imperial fleet, prepared to depart for a plague-stricken system, its holds full of medicines, and its crew eager to help. Dr. Chen. Guardian 1 addressed her directly. The Hope's Light will continue its mission. But now you carry something more precious than vaccines. You carry the proof that humanity's greatest strength lies not in our capacity for war, but in our choice to heal. The ancient ship's hull rippled one final time. We return to our slumber, but we remain. Every medical ship now carries a piece of our technology, a reminder that they are protected. The Guardians will wake again if needed, but we hope instead to see your example spread across the stars. As the Guardian ships prepared to depart, Sarah looked at her crew, at the Imperial medical teams working alongside them, at the newly transformed ships preparing to save lives rather than take them. She understood now why humanity had sealed away its weapons so long ago. They had found something far more powerful, the ability to transform enemies into allies, to convert destruction into creation, and to show the galaxy that true strength lies in the power to heal.